Hi, good night, everyone. It is Sunday. Happy Sunday. Well, it's Sunday night now. August 11th, I think it is. August 11th, 2025. And it's like 10:05 p.m. here in Chicago. So I don't know how viral it's going around on YouTube or Instagram, but on TikTok, and it might be because of the people I follow, but a lot of people now, since it's been 20 years, a lot of people now are like spilling documentaries and telling their stories about what Hurricane Katrina was really like. Not what the news told us, but what it was really like. And when people are asking, well, why are you revealing all of this now if you knew the masses didn't know it now? It's almost hard to tell the story without crying. One lady said, because we didn't think anybody cared, we didn't think you would believe us. We didn't think that you would listen to anything that was opposite what the news was saying. But you guys, Hurricane Katrina, just by what I've been watching over the past few days from these like documentaries and just people from New Orleans telling what they witnessed, that was definitely some type of really evil, like almost mass murder. And I wasn't there. I'm talking about what people are describing, and nobody from New Orleans called it that. So let me make that clear. Nobody from New Orleans called it that. But when they break down what was happening, it's like, yeah, the news wasn't sharing that. And I mean, would we expect them to? People were witnessing, like, authorities, quote unquote, just shooting people dead. People were witnessing them just throwing bodies in trucks. There were like trucks full of bodies. It almost sounded like a Holocaust. I swear to God. And I'm not being like over dramatic. It almost sounded like a freaking Holocaust. And one lady said the one thing she'll never ever forget is the smell. And they said there were just decaying bodies everywhere. And like the homes were filled with mold and decayed bodies. And here's the part that was the saddest for me. They said people from New Orleans to this day, you would be so surprised how many people still never found their brother, never found their son or their daughter or their mama. Never. People never saw their neighbors again. One lady said she came back to her neighborhood and nobody was there. It was a bunch of new people building shit up. And she was like, where did you all come from? And they said a lot of children went missing. Now, I definitely have my own little conspiracy theory about that, but I want to keep it to what the people of New Orleans are saying, out of respect, because I wasn't there. But a lot of children went missing, and they said so many people from New Orleans will tell you, I never saw my brother after Katrina. And then people who lived more like in the white areas, they weren't hit. They weren't affected. Like, and you guys, you'll start to see more documentaries and, more people talking about it, I guess, now that it's been 20 years. And I was asking the same thing. Why now? I guess it's because it's a 20-year anniversary, but I think this isn't even something I've heard people from New Orleans say, but I think it's more than just them not thinking anyone would believe them. I think it's the pain of discussing it, because even now, some people, when they tell the story, their voice starts to crack a little, and you can really see a sadness in their eyes. Like, they tortured the black people in that city with Hurricane Katrina. And I'm almost speechless with some of the stories that I'm hearing. Hurricane Katrina, you guys, was much worse than what we thought. And some of you probably always knew. And probably the closer you were to New Orleans, probably the more you already knew that. So if you were, Texans probably knew a little bit more than the average American. Texans and people in other parts of Louisiana, but for a lot of us, I always knew since I was a little girl not to trust everything on the news, but because they were showing, I remember, because they were showing so many black people in New Orleans saying, well, I'm trying to find this one and I'm trying to find that one. The news did a very good job of acting as though they were trying to reach the heart and soul of the people of New Orleans. They weren't, so they played it really well. They played it really well because they were interviewing a lot of black people, in New Orleans, and it just seemed like a very, very devastating hurricane with very, very devastating effects. That's what it seemed like. A very devastating hurricane with very devastating effects. But you guys, it was more than that. They were murdering people. They were, now this, I didn't say this. Children just were missing like there was no tomorrow. They were loading bodies up, just a bunch of trucks full of dead bodies. I'm sorry, that sounds like a Holocaust to me. And this one girl that I'm listening to that's talking about it, she said, I didn't think you all cared. I didn't think you would believe us, how they fucked us up. Like, she said that. That's not my wording. I don't know. There's a lot more to this Hurricane Katrina than we thought, you guys. There's a lot more to it. I don't even know if it's good for your mental health to know everything. I want to know, but I'm talking about every single person. For you to never see your brother again since a storm. Imagine that. Or you never see your mother again. And I would think that, no matter how strong the storm is, people are holding on to their babies with all their might, holding on to their babies. So how did so many babies go missing? And children? Where are they? Where are they? They're not all dead. Man, I don't know. But I hope I didn't offend anyone if you're from New Orleans and you're listening. This is just me trying to I don't want to use the term make sense. This is me trying to process everything I'm hearing. But that's all. Have a good night.